Lord Wing used 17k of his precious mask points to ask me what made the original Tekken 6 Kazuya so strong. First off, we gotta stress that when people hear Tekken 6, all they think about is Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion, which is the game that was ported to consoles and then called simply Tekken 6. It was not called Tekken 6 Bloodline Rebellion. But what a lot of people don't know is that on arcades, there was an initial Tekken 6 launch, an original vanilla version that was out for months, but not too long, and then boom, it was transformed into Tekken 6 BR with all of the changes, etc. And then BR was in arcades for a long time, and then it was released on consoles. And the easiest way to recognize the original Tekken 6 is through the yellow health bars. BR have the turquoise. Is that how you pronounce that? The turquoise. I don't know. Health bars. So if you see Tekken 6 and it's yellow health bars, you know you're looking at the original. But it's quite rare to find. Tekken 6 was not a lot of content was made on it, to say the least. But so that was the little backstory. Now you know what I will be talking about. I will be talking about the Tekken 6 iteration of Kazuya. In BR, he's really, really bad. He's not a strong character. He's very difficult to use, and he's like mid-tier or mid-low tier. But the original Tekken 6 Kazuya was a god. He was top 1 or top 2. You could definitely place Bob above him due to Bob being so easy and Bob being absolutely batshit crazy. Bob's down for 2 was a natural hit launcher. No counter hit needed. His down 1 was like neutral on block. It's like the character was insane, and his wall combo did... You have no idea how much damage it did. But if in capable hands, you know, like the absolute most elite players, they would most often put Kazuya above Bob, because if you had the skill, Kazuya was god basically. So, what made him so strong? And you can just start by saying general things like movement being stronger. Tekken 7 has weaker movement, hence Mishimas are... I love the battle here. Hence Mishimas are just not favored as much. And I think the wall combos in the original Tekken 6, you were allowed 4 hits. Whereas in BR, and every game after that, including Tekken 7, it's 3 hits. And this actually was extra deadly in Kazuya's hands, that wall system, because suddenly his rising sun, upward 4, 4, 4, 4, would connect on any character, even Xiaoyu would eat that shit. And it just did absurd damage. But, okay, so all of that aside, that was a little bit of the context, you know, original Tekken 7, you have a completely different system with better movement, and you have the 4 hits on the wall. And then we can also say that Kazuya's forward 4 would, on crouchers, stun them, just like Devil does these days, you know, in Tekken 7. Normal Kazuya had that. Forward 4 on crouchers, and they get stunned, and he got down forward 1, 4 into a launch, and then he could bound with down forward 1, 2. And his damage was incredibly high. They nerfed the damage. They would eventually tone down his damage, but down forward 1, 2 hit like a truck. And then with the wall, again, I'm hoping I get the arcade hardware to demonstrate this. But so forward 4 was a big deal. Another big deal with Tekken 6 Kazuya was that he got the new string, down forward 3-2. You know, the knee into the punch, you know. These days, he can do down forward 3-2-1 into a what? -18 situation. But in Tekken 6, he got the down forward 3-2. But it was in BR he got the third hit. But in the original Tekken 6, that down forward 3-2 was godlike. Godlike. It was actually safe. Kazuya had a safe mid string. So he did down forward 3-2, and then he was -9. And he could still delay it. And it was quite hit confirmable, I think. It was seriously good. And when it recovered that much faster, he could even use it in combos for combo filler. You could do electric, down forward 3-2 into down back 2. So that was a really big deal for the character. And another thing, you know, his back 1-2, his 11 frame punish, he got that in Tekken 6. And the original version had very little like minus frames. It wasn't safe, but I believe it was like -12 or -13, and it had big pushback on block. Big pushback on block. So you could be quite careless with that. And that was like immediately adjusted then in the expansion BR. They gave it much less pushback on block. And gave it more minus frames, I think. And then his his twin pistons. I believe they came out at 12 frames in the original Tekken 6. Not 13, 12 frames, the twin piston. And I think they were -10 or -11. The twin pistons were absolute god mode. You could even do, obviously it works, you could do forward 4 on a crouching opponent. And if you had the execution, you could do follow with twin pistons into 3-1-4. And then another thing, like, you know his hell sweep? You know how these days you do hell sweep 1? In original Tekken 6, again, Kazuya's hell sweep would trip on the first hit, no matter what. It would trip. You didn't have to do a follow-up. They fall down, and then he got a guaranteed stomp, his Oni stomp, and it did absurd damage. You have no idea. It did more damage than hell sweep 1. So they would do hell sweep stomp, and it was like incredible damage. And yeah, I mean, you have to remember this was a very long time ago, and these are the main points I would stress off the top of my head. But there is most likely more to the character. But yeah, from what you've heard, that is pretty absurd stuff already. And yeah, his damage just being so high. So high. But I hope you enjoyed that little answer there. And if I post it to YouTube, everyone enjoyed the history lesson. And again, I'm trying to get hold of the arcade hardware for Tekken 6 so that I can demonstrate all of this, because I've really enjoyed making my Tekken Revisited videos. And the game that is very much lacking right now is the original Tekken 6. I would love to make videos on that.